It makes me now to think about nitrogen management, which was not at all a topic in our daily discussion. We always talked about carbon dioxide.
The general consensus is air is 78% nitrogen and it's unreactive. It's just there, it's fine. So we need to change that. That there's something called reactive nitrogen, which is dangerous, and we need to start looking into it.
I would say misuse or excess use of nitrogen. It's more misuse of nitrogen, and that has to be brought it down. So, lot of campaign education is important. We got technologies right there. I think it's more campaign is required, more educating farmers.
I don't think nitrogen is big for policymakers at the moment, partly because it's still discussed within academics. So I feel that through SANH and the other work that we are doing, we can slowly start pushing for policies for nitrogen monitoring and finally curbing nitrogen pollution as a whole.
I think the key message, at least in my country, is to make farmers understand that nitrogen is for plants and is not for wasting the nitrogen in water and in air. And as long as we reach with our message to the farmers and practices are improved, then it's a win-win situation. But that is a challenge, as you asked.
Even if we have the policies, implementation will take a little longer because it's literally talking an entirely new language.
The bad news is that the nitrogen problem has so far received little, if any, attention outside the scientific circles. The good news is that in addressing nitrogen issues, we can significantly roll back the damage from the three challenges I have just touched upon: climate change, air pollution, and land degradation.
Underpinning all of the Sustainable Development Goals, but when you look at the Sustainable Development Goals and their indicators, you will struggle to see nitrogen invisible.
The solution should be continuously available on mass scale. I consider this as the duty of the scientists working on multiple facets of nitrogen who have gathered here today while catalyzing the global science policy political dialogue.
We as a scientific community are ready to support you, ready to support the world in underpinning, supporting you with the evidence you need as we develop policies across the world, answering your questions, listening, doing our best to explain.
Part of the problem is a lack of awareness among policymakers and the public. That's why the campaign we're here to launch today is so crucial. If we are going to raise nitrogen up on the agenda, then we need to sound the alarm loud and clear.
If we don't know where we come from, then we don't know where we're going. The stars way up above us, the earth that lies below us, both hold the key to finding and balancing nitrogen.
2015 to, let's say, 2017, the INMS process is established. The parents are International Nitrogen Initiative, UNEP, funded by Global Environment Facility, and that is now up and running as a science support process and has helped catalyze this activity. So now that's taken us and it's brought us this far here in Colombo, because the recent activity, of course, was the adoption of the nitrogen resolution at UNEP 4. That first draft was made in the Maldives in September 2017, working in mobilization with the South Asia Cooperative Environment Programme, who first took the draft to their governing council. There it was agreed that India would lead on behalf of the countries. A year and a half later, yes, that was adopted, and that then led having the countries to follow up. But let's take a much simpler calculation. Simply the value of the resource loss, 200 million tons of nitrogen lost every year in the world. 80% is lost. And let's just put a fertilizer price on that, nominally $1 per kilogram of nitrogen. That means if you add that up, that's $200 billion a year of waste, resource waste, nitrogen waste from all sources globally. So that cash value is a major opportunity for mobilizing innovation, for nitrofinance.
Part of the power of the Colombo Declaration that I sincerely hope we can agree on today is that it sets an ambitious target to halve nitrogen waste by 2030. This would lead to immediate benefits in the fight against climate change, biodiversity loss, and air pollution. It would also lead to $100 billion in savings and foster innovation in sectors like farming, energy, and transport.
Where are we going? Of course, where we're going is a positive, well-coordinated, cooperative learning between science, policy, practice, the coordination mechanism coming forward, the goal of half nitrogen waste with the same target, I should say ambition, as the Sustainable Development Goals. Does it mean the next decade, 2020 to 2030, is going to become the nitrogen decade? This challenge really is embraced, and that everybody on the planet knows about this challenge, just like everybody knows about the carbon and climate challenge.
So we have to work together between countries that are too much and too little. In some countries, the challenge is going to be better fertilizer management, or reduced inputs, or making better use of manures, or recapturing of the emissions from combustion sources. In others, the challenge is going to be how simply to get enough nutrients for the farmers to grow good crops.
We need the countries to work together. We need national focal points for each country. We need to work within each country so that the focal point is getting everybody working across the boundaries within their country, and we need to get the different conventions who are too busy talking to themselves. We need them to talk together. So 3 layers. The conventions coming together, the countries coming together, and within the countries. And I think this would, as we go forward, make a very powerful approach.
We are indeed thankful for scientific communities for awakening the society in the multiple layers of understand about the nitrogen.
The scientists have done their bit, the UN has done its bit, and at least one national government has taken it to the global stage. Now it's really the issue of the people and the civil society, including the media, to make it a success.
So what is our message for nitrogen to finish? I think essentially that nitrogen has been forgotten for too long. It should clearly no longer be forgotten.
We must remember what kind of world we are fighting for. A world with clean air to breathe and clean water to drink. A world where climate change no longer poses an existential threat. Where life in our oceans is no longer starved of oxygen. This is the world we want, and it is the world our children deserve and expect from us.